Major cryptocurrencies have broken critical key support levels over the last 48 hours. Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking down from its key level set back in May, and something is about to happen that hasn't happened in Bitcoin's entire history. Stick around for what that is and how you can best prepare for it, because that's what we're all about here in terms of how to save money in your investment funds and also how to make money. It's just as important to be able to save all of those dollars rather than lose them to the downside. So make sure you've smashed up that like button to a new all-time high. Thank you so much for all of your support during this bear market stage of cryptocurrencies. Many of you are still here. And of course, I do believe people who are through this stage of the market will eventually make it, because you are getting a feel for the negative sentiment as well as the bullish sentiment. So you can piece this together, which makes the entire puzzle of a full-time investor, understanding what it's like to be in a market when the market is feeling bad and down, sideways actions, and of course, the bullish action as well. You're here for the bad times. Make sure you're here for the good times as well. All right, guys, let's crack on with the video. Bitcoin is now at $25,600. The low for the day is happening as I'm recording this video. And in terms of the fear, well, we've gone through another extreme fear 24 hours. 48 hours, last week as well. It's basically been extreme fear this entire time. Now, looking at our Bitcoin purchasing plan, basically buying up some of those major dips, not all of the dips. And as you can see now, regular viewers, you are now seeing how this is playing out in real time. And it does take a lot of patience. People who are not patient in the markets, you can now see for yourself that they have basically been burned in the bull market and they're getting wrecked in the bear market. It is very unfortunate, but in terms of investing at this stage, well, it's always a zero-sum game when it comes to investing, and the idea is not to be on that other side of it. Be patient, look at what the market is telling us, and not to get swept up in all of the hopium that we've seen over the last 6 months and through the bull market. You know, you could call it the last 18 to 24 months. Now, I've posted something here on Twitter. If you guys do want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, links are down below. I just say use those links because there are hundreds of scammers out there. So even if you don't want to follow along with my post day today, just as long as you have the real account so that you don't get messaged or DM'd, I'll never DM you guys. Check out the link in the description for Instagram and Twitter so you have the official accounts there. So I posted this today. RIP crypto and Bitcoin. Obviously, the market's heading down. I don't think they're all over, but the majority of them, as I've said for a very long time, most of the altcoins are probably not going to make it in the long run. So much for all the on-chain data and the hopium, the ETH merge, which was going on and on and on in all of the YouTube channels and Twitter and all of these guys just going on about it. I hope that you guys can now see through all of the BS, and you basically are seeing that all of these bullish narratives are just there to pump up people's numbers. If I wanted to increase my numbers on Twitter more, grow a bigger following, if I look at my profile here, I'm only at, I say only, but I've got 61,000 here. A lot of people started well after me and have grown way, way bigger accounts than what I've grown because they're continuously bullish and showing you something like in terms of on-chain data, some hopium BS that tells you the market has to be great. You know, the hash rate is huge on Bitcoin. The amount of wallets that have been created on ETH or the next layer one chain are huge. But of course, that is all bullish narrative, which doesn't mean anything in terms of the cycle. I'm here to make money. I hope you are too. And when we see these sorts of things, if the cycle is down, the cycle is down. The prices are going to be down no matter what people say. You can't push a cycle into a bullish narrative just because you keep talking about something over and over again. It's basically like the seasons in the planet. You can't just wish summer was here when it's winter. It doesn't happen like that. And you have to wait that time out, which is why I always focus a lot on cycles. And that gives you the timing for the market. A very good rough idea of when that could be. And so I finished the tweet with, never forget this. If you always remember or understand what stage of the cycle you're in, you're going to be better off than 95, maybe even 99% of investors, because most people we know do lose at the end of the day. I understand it. It's very unfortunate. It's part of how it is when it comes to investing. It's basically a whole ton of speculation. So I say you'll literally make it if you know this, if you are investing with the cycle, if you're investing with the trend. And if the market is down, then it's a time to be shorting. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, it's at 25,700. So it's basically floating around this 25K, getting very close to testing the low of May, which in some cases is 25,400. Now, in terms of the warning and the things that have never happened before, it is the possibility for Bitcoin of going beneath the previous cycle's all-time high. So the previous all-time high is 19,800. Where we currently are is 25,700. So in terms of the low from last month, which is the current significant low, that's only 28% from that previous top. And so we've never gone beneath the previous all-time high. And I think a lot of people were thinking maybe it would never happen. And I definitely thought that there was a possibility that would never happen. But we're really, really close to that now. And I think if we do get some sort of spike low, I think it might, well, I'm pretty sure it will come underneath that 20,000 just to show us all that Bitcoin can do things that we never thought possible, even if it is to the downside. In the past, you can see the previous cycle high, November 2013, to the previous cycle low. That was 150% higher than the previous top. And so at that time, we all thought it was getting close, but it never actually made it. And then the previous cycle as well, if we look at Bitcoin, there's the top there at about $30 odd. We come to the next low, that's at about 162 or so. It's 400% above that previous cycle. So 400% higher than the cycle that occurred in 2011 to that low in 2015. So there's 4 years there. And then again, we had about that 150%. But right now, we're only about 30% above the previous high. So if I take these drawings off, or bring them back on, I should say, this is where my cycle is still playing out in pretty good stead here. We can see that it's coming through to fruition. Maybe it's going to be shorter than we're expecting, but again, you know, we've been talking about a low sometime in late Q2, Q3, maybe early-ish Q4. And we have to just wait and see what happens because the market is not giving us a reversal signal yet. So that tells us that the cycle is still down. It tells us that we're still going to see lower prices across for Bitcoin and altcoins because Bitcoin still has to climb out of its low, go into an accumulation and then, you know, build up again. Maybe we bounce and spike out of here. But even if that's the case for Bitcoin, altcoins are still going to be hit quite hard, even if it's against their Bitcoin value. So we'll look at that a little bit later. In terms of the 15 months here that I've been looking at, so that's the low there, that was for June, and 15 months. So I'm basically looking at sort of 15-month cycles here from low to low, and that brings us out to about September. So mid-June, that's only 2.5, 3 months away. Even if we get a higher low, I think we're still going to be in some sort of bear market or sideways accumulation market by the time we get to the end of 2022 for cryptocurrencies, that is. When the market is down, the only thing we can do as traders is to short the market. And at the moment, Buybit has got its World Series of Trading on starting in a couple of weeks' time. So if you want to get involved in the World Series of Trading over on Buybit, check out the link in the video description and join our squad over there. You're going to look for crypto hobos over there. We're trading to stack sats. So check that out. Link is in the video description. If you aren't part of Buybit yet, go and check out the link down there. You can get up to $4,100 of sign-up bonuses. And no, you don't have to trade on leverage over on Buybit. It is just like any other trading platform that you use. It has spot trading. It has ways to earn interest as well. And of course, some yield farming ideas over there as well. So link for Buybit is in the top of the video description if you guys want to use that over there. And you can also get involved in the World Series of Trading using the link down below for our squad crypto hobos. Tons of prizes. Let's crack on with Ethereum, which has actually done the unthinkable this cycle and fallen beneath the previous all-time highs. The previous all-time high came in January 2018. That top was 1400, some say 1420, some are 1480, mid 1400s. Doesn't matter because right now Ethereum is at $1,353. So regardless of which exchange you're on, ETH has now dropped beneath its previous all-time high. That gives us a loss, a drawdown from the peak, which was 4,860, 4,870. It's down 72% so far. So another piece of hopium that we remember seeing from 2021, maybe you weren't here in early 2021, but there was something called a super cycle, which was circulating as if Bitcoin could never drop beneath a 50% drawdown from the high. Never get involved in these stupid ideas from a whole lot of jargon over on Twitter or YouTube. Have a clear mind, do your own research. And of course, you don't even need to follow what I'm saying here, but just do your research and have your own plans. The reason I say that is because pretty much 99% of the time, whenever there are these big hopium field ideas, they will come crashing down eventually. There is a lot of gains that we can make to the upside. So it's basically just keeping a clear mind away from other people to try and influence you. There are going to be people that are giving you good ideas when it comes to how to create an investment plan or trading plan. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. So make sure you have something that suits your needs and the way you like to trade and invest. We've seen Ethereum now go down 72% from its current all-time high. It's now underneath the previous old all-time high. In the past, ETH has gone down 94% from its previous all-time high, but it was still above previous cycles. It was pretty much the first cycle that ETH had anyway. It came down from beneath $1 per ETH, and then the low at that point was about $80. That was the previous bear market. If we were to go down 94% again for ETH, that brings us out to a price of approximately $280. We'd be under $300 per ETH. Now, of course, I don't know if that's going to happen. It's quite a long way down. I don't expect ETH to drop the same as it did in the previous cycle because there is so much more money in it now. And I think it's diminishing returns to the upside as much as it is diminishing drawdowns to the downside. Maybe we only get an 84% instead of a 94%. So 84% brings us out to about $700. So something under $800. And that would then line us up pretty well with the zone that I've been looking at in every single video now. This zone is where I think altcoins will potentially end up, or at least test that zone. Many altcoins will probably test that zone. ETH, of course, being one of the largest cryptocurrencies, the alternative to Bitcoin, that's what alt stands for, may not get that far because it does have a lot more money in it. But even if it did, just to keep an eye on our worst case scenario, as we always should have that, that's going to bring us out to this little zone here. This is the November zone where before the market really started to pump. That's going to be a 90% drawdown all the way up to a peak of about an 85 or an 86%. So it's approximately $700 to $450. So somewhere between that $400 and $800, I think could be one of the worst case scenarios. Is it going to get there? I don't know, but my targets further down are going to be all the previous resistance levels as ETH was dropping in the previous bear market. So that's coming out at $1,200. You've got another zone at about $900, and then of course around $800 as well. And you can throw $1,000 in there being a psychological level. And at the end of the day, that's not very far off where we currently are now at $1,340. And unfortunately, this has been the first time in these cryptos' histories that they've fallen underneath their previous all-time highs. Well, I guess for ETH, this is its second major bull run, and it has fallen beneath the old all-time high. All cryptocurrencies, excluding Bitcoin and ETH, where are we currently sitting? Well, the last time we looked at this was in the previous video, and we're looking at the possibility of the total market cap breaking down from 400 billion. And it has just done that in the last few days. That was the level for it to hold. I looked at a possibility of being wrong, which would mean we would then have to hold the 400 billion and bounce away, break previous highs, come back and test the support, and then move higher. And that obviously has not happened now. We're looking at a daily chart here, and we're back down to 360 billion. And of course, that's very close to my next target, which I said many times, looking at around that 320 billion. Now, of course, this includes all of the stable coins as well. So we have to wait and see whether the stable coins also get flushed out, people leaving the entire space. Obviously, if people sell off Bitcoin, ETH, cryptocurrencies, often our first area that we put our funds into are stable coins. And then from stablecoins, maybe you sell it out into fiat. So if the stablecoin market caps are also dropping, that means people are leaving the space and putting their money back into fiat because they are unsure of cryptocurrency in general. So in terms of the downside now to the total market cap 3, everything excluding Bitcoin and ETH, it's about another 13% to these lows, to these current lows in February. Now, I still have this box here. This is my box, my level that I think the market is potentially coming back to test. As I said for ETH, as I said for many, many months now, this was basically the area before the market took off into those peaks of February, March, April, those really big altcoin seasons, even into early May before the entire market dumped. So this area is November into December of 2020. Remember that. So that low, or at least the downside to this target area, which is this yellow line, is about another 50 to 56% away, 160 billion. I'm going to use the upper side of that, just the benefit of the doubt in case the stable coins continue to pump the market up. That gives us about a 40% drop from the current prices. So although this seems extremely bearish and everything is doom and gloom for cryptocurrencies, we are getting very, very close to that level. And it's something that I've maintained for a long time. Reason being is once altcoins bust, they bust hard. We know that from previous cycles, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people have not seen that and not sold out on the way down. I hope next time around they see it and they know that a lot of these hopes and dreams will get flushed out eventually. Now, we're not there yet, so of course it can always be wrong, but we'll see that in the chart. We'll see the market put in a low and start to reverse, put in a bottom, and then start to show signs, if it happened to be here, start to show signs that it wants to climb higher with higher lows and higher highs as well, because we will get some sort of reaction. It just depends whether we get the reaction that takes off and breaks previous highs, or if it's just a rally, a sucker's rally, a relief rally that then takes us to lower prices. And that's what we're looking for next for all of the altcoins. So the fact that it has never happened before in crypto doesn't mean it will never happen in the future. And I think we really need to understand that lesson, especially moving forward for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, because it's been a long time where Bitcoin has never broken beneath the previous all-time high. And as we currently sit barely $6,000 above that previous all-time high, it is very possible that Bitcoin will come underneath that level, or at least test that level on some sort of spike. We've now seen it on Ethereum. It has broken down beneath its previous all-time highs, and we've seen it in many other cryptocurrencies, some of the majors there, like ADA as well, which has clearly broken down from its previous all-time high and is now into the 40 cent levels again after the previous all-time high of $1.38. So keep that in mind moving forward. Never let some sort of amazing, magical hopium slogan drag you under the bus again. Never get caught up with any of that hopium BS. And I do believe you will make it in the future if you just switch off to all of the BS that's going on out there. Eventually we'll get a low. And as I've pointed out many times before, I think we're probably getting very close to it. We've looked at this on a timing sense all the way back from earlier this year. And then also when I put out the 4-year cycle video on Bitcoin in February, we've seen this in total 3 as the market continued to break down after a lot of people were buying up these lows at 600 billion on the total market cap. And of course, just to see their entire portfolios now get crushed again by another 70%, which is very unfortunate. Don't get caught up in that. I'm sure you're going to make it in the long run. Stick around in the bear market. This is where the big money is made. Like the channel up, or like the video, subscribe to the channel and bell notification icon so you can see all of the updates right here. And of course, if you want to join us in the Buybit challenge over there, the link is in the top of the video description. We've got a good squad coming together now for this total prize pool of 8 million USDT. I'll see you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.